So before all of the Thanksgiving craziness is to ensue, I wanted to just kind of do a little bit of a shout out to someone who posted a video very recently. And I will be honest with you, it totally changed my whole world. And I do not think that was actually her intent. Really, I think it may have, you know, to be an encouragement, but I don't think it was meant to be such an eye-opening thing. But Amanda from the Fundamental Home just recently posted a video. And I subscribe to a lot of people. And so, you know, I don't have time to watch everything that everybody posts, or otherwise I would live on YouTube. And it was something about the title that caught my attention. It was something about being guilt-free Christmas. And it just caught my eye, and I watched it. And it was like the biggest weight was lifted off of my shoulders by watching this video. You know, and I realized that I could not just apply this to Christmas, but also to Thanksgiving as well. For those of you who are not in the United States, Thanksgiving is a holiday that we celebrate every November on the very last Thursday. It basically involves football and more food than any one person could ever eat. And you know, a lot of times we go to family things and there's so much food and there's leftovers for days. And I remember sitting down after I had watched that, I had decided to put the ideology that she had talked about into practice for Christmas. I wasn't sure how I was going to go about it, or, you know, what I was going to cut back on, or what I was going to do yet. And then I sat down and I was going to start planning Thanksgiving, and I was planning the Thanksgiving at my mom's house, and we started talking about what was going to be on the menu. And I just said, Mom, I mean, we always end up having more food than we'll ever need. Let's not do so much, because something about listening to her in that video really changed my mind and changed my heart on a lot of stuff. And so as I'm listening to this and as I'm starting to sit down and plan my own Thanksgiving, you know, last year I made so much food. By the time that we were done, I think we were like 4 or 5 days in, everybody was so sick of it, and I ended up having to throw a lot of stuff away. And so this year I'm doing very simple, very, very simple. Turkey, we're doing turkey and dressing, because that's the two staples. 1 dessert, mashed potatoes and gravy, macaroni and cheese, and green bean casserole. That's it. I wanted it to be a lot smaller than what we normally do. Normally, there was probably about, I don't know, about 15, 20 dishes. Like, it gets crazy. And I always worried about things like the dining room table and how it was going to look, and the silverware and all these things, and my mom does the same thing. And I just stepped back and realized that that's not even what this is about. We're so worried about making sure that we have things that we're not realizing why we should be celebrating to start with, which is to be thankful. Now, Amanda's video was about Christmas and about being guilt-free. And when she was talking about how, you know, as a society that we put so much emphasis on making sure our kids get a great Christmas and making sure that we spend all this money. And I'm so guilty of that. Years ago, I actually took out loans at Christmas time. Even now, our bank has this big sign that's like, we're your BFF, your Black Friday fund or something like that, where they'll give you so much of a percentage of a loan to go Black Friday shopping. And I realized that I feel like this has been like this great awakening for me. Not just the whole Christmas thing, not just the whole Thanksgiving thing, but also it started with the homesteading. An ambulance is going by. It started with homesteading, honestly. It started with wanting to become more self-sufficient and being able to provide for my family, and not being so dependent upon the system and so dependent and being such a consumer. And I realized by watching her video that I was still doing it. You stay so locked in this mindset that it's hard to get out of it. It's hard to get past the consumer mentality. You need to buy this to be happy. You have to have this to, you know, to make your kids happy. I mean, for God's sake, I bought a tablet for a 2-year-old one year that by January the 18th, I remember because I posted about it on Facebook, January the 18th, I was nagging because she stepped on it and broke it. She was 2. Why would you buy a tablet for a 2-year-old? Why? Because it was a new kids tablet they'd come out with. And that's what they advertised it for, was for children. And she liked to play on my phone, so it sounded like such a grand idea that I'm going to spend this large amount of money to buy a tablet for a kid. And it doesn't make sense. We're spending so much money we probably don't even have. And here goes another ambulance. So much money on things that are so unnecessary. So unnecessary. So Amanda was talking about how her and her family were able to get Christmas down to like $14 a person. I did not get it down that far. We decided to do something totally different. Usually what we do is the kids get to, excuse me, she's tapping me. I'm not being long-winded. Usually what we do is me and my husband will go out and buy, we normally have a budget of like $500 per kid, and you know, which is sadly $500 per kid. I've actually heard of way worse budgets than that, or people spending way more than that. And even that I thought was a lot. But, you know, we'll spend that amount of money, and then we'll give them money to buy each other presents, and then we buy stuff for everybody else, and it's just so much for me and him. And this year, we decided to do something totally different. I set the kids down, and I was kind of worried about what they were going to think. But I set them down and I said, look, this is what we're going to do this year. Mama and Daddy are going to buy you one present each. And it can't be over $40. And you each get $20 per sibling to spend on each other. And you guys get to go shopping for each other. So for Christmas, you will only get 3 presents. And that's it. I was totally expecting tears or the why or anything, because I have to tell you, my kids are pretty dang spoiled. I mean, I have them pretty spoiled. And I didn't get that. They thought it was a great idea. They loved it. They loved the idea that Mom and Daddy were going to get them something, and then they got to sneak surprises and buy each other presents. They loved it. So we took them out on one day. We're done Christmas shopping. We're done Christmas shopping, and I spent less than $220. I feel like £1,000,000 was lifted off my shoulders. I don't feel guilty. I'm not worried that my daughter's going to go to school and kids are going to start talking about what they got and she's going to be upset. She loved the idea. And if anything, maybe I can teach them to have gratitude for what you have. Are you seriously snoring? To have gratitude for what you already have, and to learn to give back to each other, you know, to love each other and to give. Giving is the more important part than the receiving. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys. I know that's kind of long-winded and a long story, but this year I want to break my consumer mentality. I want to break the mentality that says, I have to buy all these things to make my kids happy, or I have to compete with the Joneses about what they're getting their kids. And, you know, you have to spend this opulent amount of money that you probably do not even have. I want to bring Christmas back to what it's really about. And yes, we were talking about this one day in a live stream with one of our Southern Mama coffee break chats, which was, you know, there's a lot of paganism wrapped around Christmas. There really is. But we don't do the things that we do for that. We give them the meaning that we feel is right. There's so many rabbit trails you could go down with that. But the reality is I want to bring back the true meaning of Christmas to my kids, which is about the birth of our Savior. That's it. It shouldn't be about the presents. Are we still giving them gifts? Yeah, we're giving them small gifts. But that's not what it's going to be about. We're going to try to make this holiday more about God, less about the gifts, less about the decorations and the pointlessness. I think that's just what grabbed me, is just the pointlessness of it all. We talked about, I mean, as homesteaders and homesteading channels, we talk so much about, you know, knowing where your food comes from and, making sure that you are a good steward of what you have. But this is one of those things that kind of, I think, may get left to the wayside, which is the consumer mentality has leaked over into days that, as disciples, as followers of Christ, that we should not be overlooking. We're overlooking this. And so there's my 2 cents worth. I know this video is long, and for that I'm sorry. But maybe, if anything, this will, number one, encourage you to watch this video, because it really did make a huge impact on my life, to look back and say, this is not what I want it to be about. And maybe it will encourage you to lose the guilt that you did not spend 14 hours in the kitchen cooking the largest Thanksgiving anyone's ever seen, or that you didn't go out and spend thousands of dollars on your children for Christmas. Maybe this will help you, licking yourself, maybe this would help you to be able to lose the guilt and to actually lose the stress and enjoy the holidays. I love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you later. Bye.